So just a short poll to start with. The answer we'll talk about later on. But to kick off and introduce myself, I'm Jason Tromans. I specialise here at Technology Management around the building materials, and I'll also introduce my colleague as well, who's going to run through a few short slides to introduce kind of the shape and what the webinar will cover. And as we go through, if there's any questions, we'll answer them as we go, and we'll also have a recap at the end. So I'm just going to share my screen. Great, right, we'll get started. So I'm going to hand over to my colleague who will introduce himself and get started with the content of the webinar around building materials.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining. As Jay said, I just want to echo that I really appreciate your time. We're going to try and keep it pretty short and sharp this morning, 45 minutes, and then depending on any questions you might have, we might have another 5-10 minutes at the end as well. Some very brief introductions. Jason obviously has just introduced himself, but from my side, I look after the sales and marketing team here at Technology Management. We're going to begin really by looking at the industry, then the solution, and we're going to finish with a couple of minutes right at the end around technology management, because I think it's quite important for you to also understand the type of partner that we are and what we believe makes us different, but that's something we're going to finish with. And Jason, as he said, he heads up our building materials team from a commercial point of view, and the two of us are going to really just have a whistle-stop review of the business and the solution that we've got. Fully aware that's not going to cover everything, but any questions you have, please drop into the IM message, and we will try and either deal with them in the presentation or answer them at the end of the slides and the demo. So we just thought we'd just start with giving you a little bit of background. You may know some of this, but it was interesting looking at the answers on the poll that we started with around the building materials industry in some numbers. And what we see here, and these are all taken from the constructionproducts.org website, but some interesting stats that we see. You know, you're quite a big employer across the industry, across for the UK. It's very big in terms of turnover. And almost 11% of the UK manufacturing is done by the building materials sector. So you're a big player as far as we're concerned across the UK economy, a big contributor towards that. So it's an important industry, and it's one that we as a business have worked with for over a decade now. And we've built our knowledge of what you do. We've built our knowledge around an experience of working with organisations such as yourselves, and also the solutions that we've built is all based on that experience and knowledge that we've gleaned over the last 10 years. And looking at the industry as it stands at this moment in time, we have seen a fairly steady and solid growth over the last probably 6 years, since around about 2012. As you can see on the slide, we've had a steady growth here, and I think the main changes we've seen a little bit of a downturn since the turn of the year, a bounce back in the last month or so, but we have seen a little bit of a drop down, and what we're looking at really is to make sure that the solutions we offer are going to help organizations we work with become more efficient, be more agile to handle and deal with these challenges the business or the industry can face from time to time. But overall, over the last 6 years, it's been a good, steady growth picture, as we can see on the slide. And from our point of view, we believe our solution helps maintain that and helps make you very agile to deal with the challenges that we are facing, or you face as a business. And so from our point of view, what are the key areas that we look to help overcome? And whenever we talk to customers, any shape or form, nobody wakes up on a morning and decides to buy a new business system, unfortunately for us. There's always a trigger point that will bring you to a webinar like this, one of the events we run, or picking up our email and our invite, or the brochure that lands on your desk and says, that there's something of interest there. And that can be for a whole host of reasons. It can be for a very positive reason, that your business is growing and you're getting some growing pains and you're trying to find a better way of dealing with some of those challenges. It can be from a negative, a contract that's gone astray or gone way over budget, which has caused you some pain in the business. A classic one that we have a lot is just the trust that you have in your system and the data contained within it, that when one of the sales team ends up having to take an order, before they'll place that order, they want to check with the guy in the warehouse, who then wants to walk down down to where the bins are and make sure that the stock that he's being asked for is correct, which is obviously one of the most inefficient ways to run a business. And to have that confidence that what the sales guy or what the website or however you're taking those orders is displaying, or he's seeing or she's seeing, is accurate, is correct, and they can get on and place that order without having to check with 3 other people. And so being efficient with your order taking processing is one of the key drivers that we have identified. And also then once the business has transacted, that customer service post sale is becoming more and more important. And we continue to see the importance of customer service and customer experience. It's so important now when you're dealing with organizations that we can see the fact that people are willing to pay slightly more if they know they're going to get a better service, especially an after-sales service that they can trust. If there is a problem, you have systems in place to deal with a warranty return or whatever you have to do to keep those customers happy. So how do you offer that now? How do you manage returns and warranties? And that's become key for the customers we work with. And I think taking a step back, the visibility, if you're a director or senior management, you need that visibility of what's going on within the business based on real-time data, so you can make immediate decisions for what's happening today, but also be planning for the mid and the long-term future of your businesses. So having that data, we store more and more information in our systems as they continue to grow. We're pulling data from whole different bunch of areas now, and so to be able to use that data wisely is critically important, and we'll talk about that in a few moments as well. And so that really drives us onto the solution. We've talked about some of those challenges, and we'll go into a little bit more detail with those when we go through the demo. But what we're working with here is a product that has been developed by Microsoft over the last 15 years. They bought several products for what they class as their business solutions division, and that's now become known as the Dynamics 365. And they have various products that sit within that part of their business. And we're going to be looking at a couple of those today. One around the ERP side, which you may have heard of historically as Navision, that got then renamed as NAV or NAV, that's just about to be renamed as Business Central. And that's their ERP solution for the small to mid-size organization. So around about up to 250 users, but starting from as many as, or as little as, 3, 4, and 5. And that will handle all your financials, manufacturing, and we'll go through some of the other functionality that's out the box on that in a moment. And also from an after-sales service, their CRM product, Dynamics 365 for sales and service. And we'll have a little bit of a discussion around that going forward. And as you can see on the slide, what we believe right in the center of that wheel, right in the center of your business, we believe Dynamics should be the product that sits there. It's the one version of the truth, and it should give you the confidence to go throughout your business, from not just your accounts team, but through into the warehouse, through into your distribution channels, through your marketing, through your customer service, through to your reporting. So that should be the area that's key to that. And the benefit of having Microsoft that have written this product and continue to develop it at a very rapid pace is that it ties in with a lot of the other products and a lot of the other technologies that you use day to day in your business. So many organizations now are using Office 365 for Word, Excel, Outlook, all of those products that we probably start with our working day every day. And we're seeing the integration of these Dynamics 365 products into that becoming not just seamless, that you can pull your data and push it into Excel, but that within Outlook, when you get an email from one of your customers, you have the potential to get some insights about that customer within Outlook. So maybe an outstanding balance, maybe clicking and seeing the last order they've had. And that's without leaving Outlook, because it's recognized the email address that someone has sent to you requesting some information. And so that's vitally important as we become, again, efficiency, that you're not jumping in and out of different products to do day-to-day tasks. The product itself is cloud ready, so it's all built around the Microsoft Azure, which is their cloud solution. It will still run on-premise, so if you need to have an on-premise solution, it will handle both. From our point of view, we'll sit down with you and work through what is the right solution for you. But it's nice to know that that's written for the cloud, straight up from the ground up. It's been rewritten to live in the cloud. Gives you that anytime, anywhere access on any device. Massive benefits when it comes to high availability and making sure that solution is always around when you need it to run your business on, which is obviously critical. And Jason will show you a little bit later a little bit around Microsoft's reporting tool, which is called Power BI, and he'll go into a bit more detail. There's not just one tool for reporting, but it's built into all the portfolio that Microsoft have that you may have invested in other parts of your business. So it's great to know you've got Microsoft in your corner, one of the biggest tech companies in the world, but this just isn't a tech decision. And that's what we really bring to this relationship, to this partnership, that we work with that technology, but we see ourselves as a business process organization. And we use the technology as a tool to help us achieve the goals that are set right at the beginning of the relationship. And this is where we bring industry-specific functionality to the solution, building on Microsoft's product, and adding that extra 10% layer of functionality that's completely integrated into the solution. It's not a separate solution. It's built within the product and deals with some of those challenges that you as an industry face. Whether that's EDI, taking your orders from your suppliers and providing information back to customers electronically, whether it's having a website that's fully integrated into your back-end solution, back-end system. So again, the data is giving you accurate information that the customer is seeing the right pricing for them when they log on, the right stock levels, all of those type of things. Through to warehouse management, everything you can see on that wheel is additional functionality that we've added around that, and we've wrapped it up with reporting, Office 365 integration, and the access anywhere on any device at any time. So that's what we bring, and we'll hopefully go through that into a little bit of detail. And to give it some credibility, as we said, we've worked in this sector for the last decade. And hopefully on the slide you'll see in a moment when we catch up, there we go, some of the organizations that we work with on a day-to-day basis. This is just a few of the organizations that we provide services for around Dynamics, all shapes and sizes, from organizations with a few users to some large organizations that this is fully woven into their business infrastructure. And the range of organizations, again, I think shows the strength of the solution we have, that it will go through into many different micro verticals within the building materials industry. And we could probably go through, you may recognize some of those, either suppliers or customers of your own. And just before I hand over to Jace, I always just finish with a little story that hopefully gives some relevance to what we're going to try and do today, because we know over the last probably 5 or 6 years, the world has changed in terms of business and in terms of the world in general. We now live in a world that's very mobile focused. People want to access it anywhere from anything and any time. And the key thing for us is that knowledge is far more important than data. And what we mean by that, the example I use is I went to see a movie with my family, with my kids, and I had a teenage son who was sitting there, and he nipped to go to the toilet midway through the movie. And when he came back, I said what I would always say to anybody. I said, "You haven't missed anything." And he leaned across to me and he said, "I know." And we watched the rest of the film, and then as we came out, I said to him, "Son, and you said to me you knew you hadn't missed anything. What did you mean? How did you know that?" And he pulled out his phone and he looked at me like I was a bit of an idiot, as teenagers do. And the movie we were watching, I've got a little thing here. There was an app he had on his phone called Runpee. And you start that app when the movie starts. You say what movie you're watching, and it tells you that in the next 5 minutes or the next 8 or 9 minutes, there's going to be nothing happening that's significant to the movie, and you can go to the toilet. And this is happening in a darkened movie theatre with a phone in his pocket, and it gives him that level of information to know the right time to make the right decision so he doesn't miss anything. And as I came out and I came back to work the next day, I was talking to the guys about it, and we were saying, this is what we want for our business. We want our solutions to wherever we are, wherever we find ourselves, at whatever time of night or day, to have that insight that now is the right time to contact that customer. Now is the right time that we need to do something around stock in the warehouse. Now is the right time to do some new product development. And although we don't quite get down to the granularity of being told when it's time to go to the toilet, as we do with this app, it shows the way the world's changing and what people are expecting from technology. And I hope what you'll see a little bit of today, and if you continue that journey with us to look at the solution in more detail over the coming weeks and months, that you will see how this software is designed for particular roles within the business, that they get the information they need, and for you as a decision maker will have that right information being escalated up to your desktop when you need it to make the right decision going forward. So I'm going to hand over to Jason. I'll take you a little bit more into the solution, and as I said, if you have any questions, please feel free to pop them into the IM and we'll try and answer them throughout the presentation.
Cool. Thank you very much, Liam. So, unfortunately, there is no Runpee app for this webinar, but I'll try and keep my area as brief as possible and to the point. Just conscious of time as well. So, going back to kind of the topic and the three key areas that were put onto the invite of this webinar around order efficiency, around traceability and warranty, and thirdly around visibility of information. So I'm going to start with the order efficiency and how that looks and some of the pieces that we can consider as part of Dynamics Building Materials. So if I just move on a slide, hopefully you've all come across EDI, Electronic Data Interchange, as its full name. From my point of view, and dealing with a number of our building materials customers, clients, prospects over the past few years, this comes into conversation quite a lot. I'll talk and show a little later on about some of the EDI trading partners we've already got in place with our clients. But order taking and order efficiency, I'm sure that you take orders from your clients in a number of different ways. Phone, email. I was even somewhere yesterday where they still take fax. And more commonly used now is EDI. And the reason is that typically, I would say the larger organisations will sometimes demand you use EDI. If not, they're going to impose some type of financial penalty on you. Sometimes I've worked with clients here at Technology Management, if they can't give EDI functionality to their customers, they've got two considerations, and that is, one, they actually can't trade with that customer, or they actually negotiate a commercial relationship that is not favourable for our customer, so who we directly deal with, because there's an additional overhead to manage those orders. So that is the types of EDI documents, transmissions that we can manage within the Dynamics Building Materials solution. I'm focusing very much on from an order perspective and the efficiency around that. But as you can see, is that within the EDI solution and functionality, there's much more that you can do, and you can really streamline that whole working relationship with your trading partners. As that slide just continues to kind of formulate, what you see is you may have EDI now, but typically what you have is you have your customer, you have the EDI software, and you have what's called the van, or the mailbox, or the FTP folder, or the SFTP folder, and you've not just got yourself and your customer, or even yourself and your supplier. I'm not going to focus so much on that, but the principle's the same. You also have an organisation as well that manages all your EDI that you would pay a subscription to, that will then be based on how many documents and how many transactions you can submit through them in a period, and that will cost you X amount of money per period. That can be quite convoluted. What happens when your customer says, we didn't receive that document, that piece of information, and you said, well, it was sent, and then the EDI partner and the in-between says, well, we received it, we sent it, we don't know where it's gone, and you end up being in a, well, where is this gone? It seems to be lost as such, and within the construction building materials industry, as we saw earlier on, as Liam described, the construction industry has its challenges. Output is down 3.4% as of April for the rolling 3-month period. But overall, it is still growing kind of over the past, if you look as a whole, over the past 6 years, as Liam did say. But at the same time, the last thing that you need to be doing is chasing tails and understanding where these transmission of information has gone or not gone, and actually focus on delivering your product to your client. As we know, that whether you're delivering to a merchant or whether you're delivering to a house builder or a contractor that has been provisioned underneath a house builder to work on a particular project, for example, it's all about timing, and it's all about getting that timing absolutely spot on. So, dare I say, wasting time and consuming time on inefficiency in this area is not great, and also overall can cost you money. So what that means with Dynamics Building Materials and how we view the EDI solution is there's us in the middle, and then there's your customer and even your supplier as well. So the technology management in the middle is your Dynamics Building Materials solution, where within the ERP, the end-to-end business management system, you receive an order, you send an acknowledgement, you send maybe an advanced shipping notice of what it is that you're about to ship and when, you then send an invoice, and that's all sent directly out of our Dynamics Building Materials solution, and we take care of the back end. We manage the mailbox as such, with how the messages are sent and received. We manage how they are mapped into your system. We also can take control of to make sure that when it comes in or goes out, that mapping is what your customer can accept and do accept, so they don't have to do their translation and worry about additional effort on their side of the fence. So you can go with your USP to say, we can trade via EDI, you don't need to do anything else besides tell us what format and schema to the file you accept. So I'm not going to go through those benefits, but there's an efficiency around cost, there's no middleman. Speed of transactions in EDI in general are far quicker. It doesn't involve someone in the office to take a step back, have to manually take it from a EDI portal, take the orders down, and then manually input them, or find a way of getting a CSV or an Excel file and trying to manipulate that each time to try and speed up the process somehow. And of course, accuracy. Get the file right, get the schema right, and it flows. There will be the odd occasion where the file will fail, and that is because you or your customer has sent some erroneous data, and that is going to create an error. But those errors can be trapped within the system, and they can be rectified, and the EDI file can then be sent again. So you may not recognise EDI formats, you may recognise them. These are all the formats that we get presented with from time to time. Again, we talk about industry specific. Again, these are conversations that we've had with different clients over the years, and also just our knowledge of EDI. Again, we can work with all of these on screen. So it's a little bit hard to show EDI and what the mapping actually means. This looks from someone that doesn't. I don't sit and code. I don't sit and configure the system. So I look at that and I have to open my eyes a little wider and go, okay, so what does that actually mean? In short, what it means is on the left hand side you have a set of fields. On the right hand side you have a set of fields, and in the middle it is mapping that field on the left to that field on the right. And that is in short what we manage and what we do. So the customer sends their file with their fields. They could have a particular different name, a different caption, and how does that fit and map into Dynamics building materials and vice versa. That is what we take control of. You don't have to worry about that. So EDI, who do we do EDI with? These are just some of the construction building materials companies that our clients interact with via EDI. Some you will see and you will recognise and quite well-known names. Some maybe less known, but in short, our EDI trading partner numbers are growing month by month, year by year. We've been doing our EDI solution for kind of circa 10 years now, and we are transmitting millions of pounds worth of transactions through our EDI solution every year, and that is into also the millions worth of documents that we are transacting as well with customers and suppliers. That is saving a number of our customers a lot of money. There is, without naming specific names, within the first few months of operation for someone that went live with Dynamics Building Materials, in the first 6 months, the EDI solution and the setup paid for itself 3 times over. Moving on to the other end of order efficiency and handheld. So you may manufacture, you may go through and take, and whether that is light manufacturing, and you're kind of taking items, put them together, and then shipping them out as door as a kit, as a pack, ready for a house builder, ready to then be resold for a merchant. Or whether you're going through a full kind of production process, you're using CNC machines, welding equipment, ovens, extruders. It can vary. However, once you've got, you need to get to a level of picking that product, putting it through the production process, and getting that product put back into store to then ship out the door. There's over the years I've been to too many organisations that either are having verbal instruction of what to go and pick and ship out the door, or they're using paper, and that paper gets mislaid, that causes inefficiency, that slows down you delivering to your customer. And one of the biggest challenges within the building materials industry is OTIF, on time in full. And dare I say, that's not just a KPI within your organisation, but it's also it's a KPI that you're measured by with your customers as well. So help to get that stock in a position, that product to get in a position to ship out the door. We within Dynamics Building Materials have a handheld solution. So opposed to using paper, you've got an electronic device, a handheld device. So it could be a ruggedized device that you can traditionally see in kind of warehouses, or even things that you see people walking around in the likes of Tesco's and Sainsbury's with whilst they are picking for your home delivery orders. It is the same kind of device. It's getting to a level now where more phone-like devices, even though they're a bit more rugged, are being used as well. They're smaller, they can fit in pockets, you don't need these big holsters. But the idea around creating order efficiency and making sure you deliver on time in full is giving you the more accurate when it comes to picking. Make sure you're picking the right product, making sure that speed of picking is efficient and timely, and also you're getting the stock put into the shipping bay to be issued out and picked up by a courier service or either shipped by your own fleet. So below kind of shows what it would look like on a handheld device in the bottom right hand corner. So you will see that within there, on the second one across, you can see that there's receiving, picking. You can have areas around putaways within there as well. You can have stock checks, making sure that you are not only kind of doing the activities, but also you're maintaining your stock levels efficiently, and keeping kind of a perpetual inventory, opposed to these large stock counts that happen once a year and the business has to shut down for at least 24 hours. That should be a thing of the past. In short, that is what kind of Dynamics Building Materials and the handheld piece can offer you. It can offer the efficiency, not just by understanding what stock you've got, but also shipping it out the door in a timely manner, and supporting the overall order efficiency. So that covers point one. That's all around kind of order efficiency and making sure that the processes in the warehouse are enabling you to deliver to your customers on time. The second point, or the second topic of the webinar, is traceability and warranty. So we're in an industry, and I say we as a collective, as a collective there, because a lot of our clients work in this industry, so we get to know your industry, and we get to be part of your industry day to day. There's an element of cost and margins, but then you need to define yourselves, and customer experience and service ends up being fundamental, and making sure that people believe in you, people trust you, customers see it as a partnership as well, like we do with people like yourselves. So from that, when it talks about traceability and warranty, you may have products that need to be traced because they contain particular material that needs to be traced back to source, perhaps, but also you might want to trace an item to understand if it was a bad batch. So you might bring in components, and that could be even nuts, bolts, but less so. But it could be pieces of metal. It could be plastic, pellets as such. And you want to understand what supply that's come from. Is it through the extruding process, and what ends up being in the final product, it doesn't end up passing QA tests. Then if it was a bad batch, you want to go and run that back through with your supplier, obtain the appropriate credits, and also understand if that supplier is fit for purpose anymore. Likewise, if there's anything linked to your production process, if there's anything that you need to address through your production process and your bombs and your routings, and you need to change something that makes your product, ensure that it doesn't get returned, or doesn't ensure that there is a claim against warranty on it. We work with a number of customers that they're a door manufacturer, they have a 5-year warranty. A window manufacturer, they have products that are 1, 5 and 10-year warranties, and they need to be able to store said information within the system and be able to trace that back through accordingly. So one, you'll be able to deal with the claim or deal with the query from your customer efficiently, but also make sure it's not a false claim or your customer isn't trying to pull the wool over your eyes as such. So item tracing. So I'm gonna stop the slides a sec, and what I am going to do is I'm going to go into Dynamics and the solution. So here, as I load this up in front of me, what you will see as it just wakes itself back up. For the moment, that's just my central screen to the solution. I can find anything within the system where in the top right hand corner. So if I want to go and track where an item has come from or what it's been involved with, I'm not going to do it for time purposes now, but there's an area called item tracing within the system. So if I load item tracing, what happens is I get presented with a screen. And if I had a serial number or a lot number, which is just batch traceability for the product, then I can put that within there. And following that, what happens and what I get is where that product and that serial number or batch number has been used. So it will give me all the sales orders that it was against. So I might have a batch of product that has created 10 items. Those 10 items could have been sold to 6 different customers. It'll tell me where that batch was sold to, but also it will tell me how that batch was made up, the components, and also where that was bought from, which supplier, and on what date that supplier was brought from. So you can see that I can trace the method from usage to origin, or I can do it vice versa. I can actually take the actual product as a component instead, and I can use it the other way around and say, well, I had this component with this batch or this serial number, tell me where it was used. And I can see that and take that all within the system. That does mean that I have to ensure that I'm entering that level of information against the component. That may not be necessary for all items, it may not be necessary for your operation. So what else I can do, and I'm just going to show this for simplicity without going in detail, but at the top here I have a different function within the system called Navigate. Navigate gives me the ability to search and drill down into different areas of the system. So I'd be able to, everything, a purchase order, sales order, I can type that document number in and I can go through and find where all related transactions have appeared within the system. And then I can see within there what items have been consumed as well. It gives you full visibility of how you are consuming your product. So that is item tracing and navigation and seeing where you've used your product, how you can understand if you have any quality issues or warranty claims or traceability queries. Also as well, there's something in the system called service items. So you might sell a product, and this happens with when you have warranty. So a service item, you can create a service item off the back, and apologies, this is demo data, off the back of a product that you've sold, and you can generate a service item once you've sold it to a customer. You can see that you can set, based on that product, it has a warranty start and end date, and you can set it to a year, 5 years, 3 years. You can say whether the warranty is on parts, if you also sold something that included an element of service, fitting, for example, then you also have the ability to say, is it parts and labour, for example, as well. So I will come out of Dynamics and I will go back into the presentation and swiftly moving on. To enable efficient logging of queries, warranty claims, traceability issues, within the Dynamics 365, Liam mentioned earlier, the CRM piece, you can create cases. Cases can be specific to whether it's a traceability issue, where it's a customer query, where it's a warranty claim. And across the top here, you can see there's like a process bar. You can have a process bar per type of query. And the idea from that is you have the ability to log the details, you have the ability to log an SLA, you have the ability to link that back to a particular order or a particular production order or a particular item within the core kind of ERP piece of the solution as well, and make sure it's all lined up. You can have an owner in the top right hand corner, and that makes sure that's who's owning that query. You can then put activities and workflows to get other people to contribute to make sure there's an efficiency around resolving the case as well. From my view as well, you have SLAs. So one thing that can put you apart from others is that you could say, every warranty claim, we will have addressed it and confirmed whether it is a valid warranty claim within 6 hours of submission. And you can put that into an SLA 6 hours from the point of raising the case. When it comes to 30 minutes before the SLA is about to be hit, you can send a reminder to yourself, to your boss, or it can automatically send it to other people that are involved in the process. If you were to hit it or not hit it, you can then also do reporting and dashboards on it as well to see how efficient you are when it comes to resolving said cases around traceability issues or warranty claims. Again, thinking outside the box, that can be used for more than just traceability and warranty. So the third and final piece of the webinar was around visibility and improved visibility. One of the key areas why people that we work with in building materials look at the Dynamics building materials solution and look to change is that currently you struggle with visibility of information, which allows you to make strategic decisions, quick decisions to help drive the business forward, opposed to waiting for someone, perhaps in IT, to write your report, who have already got a stack of tasks to do, and you have to wait the best part of a week or longer to get that information that you need. And by the time that you've got that information, it's already outdated and the moment's gone, and you've lost the opportunity that you were potentially going to have to put something right or drive something new within the business. So there's no single tool for visibility. Within the Dynamics Building Materials core solution, you've got dashboards, you've got standard reports, but people like the flexibility of creating something a little bit different or something slightly different to what someone else consumes. So something else I'm just going to quickly go into is Power BI. You may have heard of it. It's, again, part of the Microsoft stack. It's linked to Office 365. It's linked to the Dynamics solution from Microsoft. Now, I'm just loading an example, quite comprehensive, Power BI dashboard. You can see everything's drilled down. It's like a pivot on the right-hand side. You drag those fields onto the main dashboard screen, and you build up what you want to build up as a dashboard. You can then have different visualizations. You can then put different filters. So as I choose the filter, you can see the data changes. The challenging part, or what I call the effort involved, is building the data set to then allow anybody within the organisation to build their own dashboards. that's an effort up front, but once you've done that, it's there, and the data from Dynamics is automatically being refreshed at a periodic interval into Power BI to allow users to consume it. You can see here I'm on the desktop. I can go into a URL. I can go on my phone and download an app. I can consume that information wherever I am. So I can make those informed decisions about what I'm going to do next, whether I need to stop a part of production, whether I've got an issue in the warehouse, whether my OTIF reporting for the week is going to fall below our target. So some particular ones as well that get a little bit what I call cool and a little bit different is that if I just load back to the PowerPoint, is that I can use a bit of artistic license and I can create what my warehouse looks like, and I can embed that within Power BI. I can then put my stock, and I can then track where my stock is, and then I can color code where my stock is. I can put filters to say, tell me where X stock is, tell me where glass is, tell me where plastic is, tell me where guttering is, tell me where drain covers are, etc. Likewise, we talked about handheld earlier. I can do efficiency and KPIs around my picking process. How many picks do we do? How many scans do we do per minute? How many picks, receipts of stock, putaways have been done in the past 24 hours, in the past week? And I can do that per device, which could be per person within the warehouse as well. So different visualizations that can enable people to consume information in a very easy, non-intrusive way, and that is accessible at the touch of your fingertips. I would say, from my point of view, is that yes, you will have some management dashboards. You will also then have people wanting their own personal dashboards. And Power BI is not just linked to Dynamics. It can also link, and if you've tried it before, it can link to other solutions as well. So you might have other applications, machinery that has on the shop floor that has output of data in terms of efficiency. You can take that as well as Dynamics kind of works order data, put those together and create a single dashboard. So your possibilities are endless. I'm going to kind of summarise and just pass back over to Liam now, who'll just add a little bit more about us as an organisation and then kind of round up. I've covered the order efficiency, front and back end, in a very simple, quick way of how that works with Dynamics Building Materials. I've covered traceability and warranty, which is a common question and a common conversation that I have week after week with organisations like yourselves. And I've covered visibility and presenting information to allow the business to make informed decisions. And that there is no single tool, but as long as it's presented in the right way, it's consumable, but also it's quick to see and put together, then you'll see the benefit out of it. So I'm going to kind of pass back over to Liam. If there's any questions at the end, I'll get back involved. Otherwise, thank you. And Liam, back to you.
Thanks, Jace. So just to finish off, just a couple of minutes to close out. As we said right at the beginning, there's two parts to this partnership, really. There's obviously the software, choosing the right software, but then also choosing the right partner to implement it. And hopefully we've started off right at the beginning by showing how we focus on the building materials business sector and work with a lot of organizations in that. We've written solutions that hopefully address some of the challenges you face. In terms of us as an organization, we're in our 26th year now. We have two offices. We're based out of Wolverhampton in the Midlands, is where we've grown up over that period of time, but we also have a base in the northeast as well. And in terms of our client base, you'll see when I click on the right deck, we will completely cover the UK. It'll pop up in a slide in a moment, so apologies for that. But you'll see a few numbers about ourselves. We support over 300 organisations around Dynamics. There's 24,000 people, end users, that rely on us every day for support. There's 110 of us within the organisation. So we're one of the largest Dynamics NAV partners. One of the top 5 in the UK, and have been for a long time. We're still managed directly with Microsoft, and we have a very good relationship with those guys, and also into the product team as well. So we're able to feed back information and feedback from our clients, our customers, that actually goes back to the product team in Denmark, and occasionally you see something that's been mentioned ending up in the product, which is always great. Turnover is obviously on there as well. The one I will point out is one which says Dynamics Taps down in the bottom right hand corner. We've done 8 of those. What a tap is, it's the adoption program. So whenever a new product comes out, we work with Microsoft to be one of the first partners to implement that within the UK. So it's before it comes on general release. We're working with one of our customers, and we implement that. So we get to know everything that's coming in the new product, and we're currently seeing the run rate of new releases from Microsoft. It's been annual for the last 5 years, and I think we're going to see that accelerate even further as we go to the cloud, that they'll be pushing new functionality down at least twice a year, and so the speed of change just keeps accelerating. But we'll always be on top of that. We'll always know what's coming, so we wouldn't implement anything without having good reason to deploy it on your systems, and you understand the benefits of doing that. And I think that goes through into our whole ethos as an organisation. Our customer retention, we talked about customer service, but customer retention is huge for us. We're proud that we're 97+ percentage our customers stay with us, and as you can see, our land map of our customer base, and we do go from one end of the country to the other. So anything that's UK wide, no problem at all. We will manage and support that. Our standard support, which comes with every product we sell, is extended. It's longer than any other partner in the UK. So we start at 8 in the morning and run through till 6 in the evening. That's our standard, and we do offer 24/7 business critical support if required for an additional cost, if that's something that's needed. And as I said, our support desk there's 19 dedicated support staff on there. We don't roster people on and off. We've got 2 developers on there as well. So if you need to go to what we class third line support, we have that all ready to go, and everything's logged, as you can imagine, on a help desk system, and you can have access to that, and you get all your feedback around what's going on with any calls you may have to log. So this isn't just a relationship we see in the short term. We believe in building long-term relationships with our customers, and on the slide we showed with some of the customers in the sector you work in, we've worked with those for over a decade. So it's not a short-term relationship. We believe in long-term partnering. We provide workshops. We provide a user day every year, which a lot of our customers come to see what's going to happen in the next 12 months within the product life cycle. We have dedicated training on site. We have dedicated account managers. So we really believe in investing back into our after-sales service to make sure that you have a great experience, not just with the software, but with us as a partner, coming in regularly, understanding the new challenges and showing you what we're doing around the product. And so I just wanted to keep it very short around TechMan. I think our history speaks for itself, but we'd happily take any questions around our credibility. And if anybody has any questions, now is the time to fire away on the instant message. And we will do our best to answer them. Well, thank you for spending an hour with us around the solution. If you want to drop us an email as well, then we'll obviously try and respond to anything along those lines.